I did a lot of extracurricular non-paid positions. Like I was working, but it was a lot of volunteer teaching positions, either tutoring or stuff like that, or teaching kids chess. So it was a lot of in between. I did that after my sophomore year. So it was like after I'd gotten to handle all my schoolwork and stuff like that. But also junior year was tough, particularly for the both of us because that was also full COVID year.
Yeah.
So there's also circumstances like that that you have to take into account whenever you do start working, and also if you don't have a car, if you don't like have your driver's license yet in high school, then it's really hard to have a job because your parents might not be around to drop you all the time. So really, it depends on the totality of all your circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, I think I started working, I want to say junior year, first or second semester. I just worked a fast food job. But it wasn't, I would say if you have the time, definitely do it. I think time is like a big thing. I just had too much free time on my hands from COVID, and like I just like school was not as heavy as it should have been during COVID, so I had a lot of free time to do kind of work and spend my time there. But it's definitely like a case by case kind of like if you have the time to work, I would definitely say go and work, earn some money before you get into college. I had like a decent chunk of spending money from working in high school to spend in college and start. So in college, a lot of the clubs and like extracurriculars that you kind of do, especially professional clubs, you have to apply to again. It sucks big time because you get out of college application, you have like a 3-month break in summer, and then like immediately you have to like apply for clubs for a semester freshman year, and it's like it's annoying, but it's like a rewarding quote unquote because I met a lot of good friends in like these application cycles for different things. But I would say in terms of like interest, it's the same as high school. Just seek out interests and stuff.
Yeah.
I was business my first year, so I did a lot of like consulting, finance clubs. But I dropped those sophomore year, and I'm doing a lot of like computer science, but like also like kind of fun things. Like right now, I'm involved in like autonomous racing team, which is like Formula One, but it's like a robot driver, like an AI driver. I'm doing research. Research is a big thing, I would say, at a lot of schools. A lot of schools will have programs for you to do undergraduate research, like IU does have like a undergraduate research thing. TAing is a huge thing. I'm an undergraduate instructor for like lower level math classes. They pay pretty good money if you look in the right place. So there's like a lot of opportunities. I would say at college, it's harder to seek them out in high school because in high school, they kind of shove them in your face. But college, you have to like look in the right places, email the right people. If you bug people enough, they will give you a chance to do something for sure. So I would just say in college extracurriculars, it's hard to get into initially, but like you will find your people eventually to do it with.
So my experience in student orgs is when I immediately got it, I joined the pre-law society on campus. So I was immediately involved with all the pre-law orgs, and I wasn't really making time for anything else. And then this year, I did student government, which I didn't think I would like. I didn't think I would like as much as I did, but I ended up liking student government a lot because my friend had forced me into it, and I liked seeing a lot of the processes and kind of working with admin, because that's what student government does. It kind of like bridges the students and the administration of the campus as well. So I really did like student government. I also joined an editorial this year. I am on the editing committee of an editorial, and I think it's just really interesting to read everyone's articles to kind of like facilitate like free speech and all of that, free press, and it was just really interesting to do all of that. And it's not something I would have thought I would have done a year ago or anything, but it was just, I got to diversify, and I think that's a big thing in college. There's so many different clubs, and there's so many different, like there's a sword fighting club on my campus, there's a bunch of different like martial arts clubs, club volleyball, there's so many different little clubs and organizations that you can do a lot of them for fun, and a lot of the times you don't even have to be a member to show up to some of the meetings. Like you can just show up and like look around, see how they do things, and that's a big part of college, just being able to try new things, try new experiences with student orgs and stuff. And so a lot of my extracurriculars are kind of focused on pre-law. I also did some research this year for a professor who was studying gun violence. So I did a lot of research, literature reviews, and stuff like that. So I would read articles on gun violence, especially like international gun violence, and kind of like take notes and do reviews based on that. So that was really interesting. And I actually had to email the professor and be like, hey, you have any undergraduate, you need a research assistant, stuff like that. And that's a big thing. You have to learn how to go out and do stuff yourself, or learn how to ask people, like he said, like not said, bug people for opportunities, because that's how no one else is going to ask for opportunities. Everyone else is stuck on their own path. So you've got to ask for your own opportunities. And I've done a lot of internships internally and externally. So I did a political affairs internship with a nonprofit, and I'm doing some work with on campus as a first year leader. So I'll be teaching freshmen, kind of handling freshman seminars on campus. So a lot of times it's just going out and finding these opportunities. I feel like I say that so many times, but it is true. That's what college is. It's teaching you how to go out and find your own opportunities.
Yeah. And I would say, don't rule any clubs out, like Papu said, like sword fighting, like all these like other things. Like it may seem like stupid at first, but like you could go and like meet someone really cool, or like find, or like just be interested in general and just have a lot of fun. And I would like, it's like part of like the college experience is like kind of pushing boundaries on what you're like comfortable doing. It's like you may go in and just not like it, and then if you don't like it, you can just leave. Like no one is gonna say anything to you if you just leave. So like it never hurts to like try something new, especially in terms of like extracurriculars. And extracurriculars also help you like meet a lot of people. I think that's a big thing in college, is you want to have like know people at college. Otherwise your college experience is gonna be like very boring, just being alone or having maybe like a small group of friends. I feel like knowing a lot of people in college, it also makes the experience like a lot more fun.
I've met some of my best friends through extracurriculars and doing orgs, and you meet a lot of different people, because in your classes you're kind of like secluded to the people in your major, because once you get into upper level classes, you don't really meet anyone from other classes, other majors or other like schools of study. So doing student orgs, doing all of these different things on campus is your way of interacting with other people from other majors. Summer internships are difficult to find. They're not difficult to find, they're difficult to get. And the application process is long, it is grueling, it is extremely, what's a good word for it? Excruciating. Because you apply for hundreds of internships, you go through LinkedIn, you go through whatever career services page at school, you're looking for different internships, especially like for someone who's a poli-sci major. Most internships are geared toward the business majors or like the tech industry. So trying to apply with a poli-sci major is doubly difficult, because no one's looking at poli-sci majors for specific summer internships.
Recruiting is really hard. That's all I can say. I think I signed an internship offer for this summer, but first semester of like this school year, I was like, it was grueling, because I had like 6 classes, extracurriculars, recruiting on top of that. It's very hard. I will say, don't stretch yourself too thin. Don't sacrifice your well-being for a summer internship, which is like 3 months of your life. I feel like it's like, to me at that time it seemed that serious, and then I got out of it and I was like, I signed this offer and I'm like, it's not that serious. Like I'm not a different person because I have an internship now. Like I would just, it's just like, just take it kind of easy. Obviously it's like, it's tough. I also applied to like hundreds of internships, and the return rate is very, very difficult as well. You kind of have to desensitize yourself to the rejection emails and all that stuff.
So we were good before you. We've moved forward with another candidate emails.
Companies will put you through 3, 4, 5 rounds of interviews and then reject you at the end with a ruthless like cold email at the end. You'll get all hyped for it. Like people will say like you're a good candidate, and then it'll just suck at the end. It sounds terrible, but like I feel like at the end when you do sign your internship offer, it's like it's very nice to kind of know like it was all worth it in the end. In terms of actually getting internships, it's like basically like college applications.
If you have a high GPA, put it on your resume, because then they see you can handle course load and you're doing well in course.
If your GPA is like a 3, 4 or above, I would say put it on your resume. I think that's like a general rule of thumb. An exception is finance. I know high finance, your high GPA matters a lot, so do have a high GPA if you're looking for finance. But your extracurriculars matter because it kind of shows the skills that you do. I would say kind of balance having like fun extracurriculars, but also like serious like research, um, clubs that like do like actual meaningful things. Like my AI like racing club is like obviously it's a racing club, but I like code like a model to like do like the AI race planning and stuff. So kind of building skills and showing companies that you can do the work um, is really important. On top of that, I would say kind of being able to articulate yourself well. That was a big thing that I kind of struggled with initially. Is once I figured out my resume problems and got past resume screens, I was getting interviews and then getting rejected at interviews. So for interviews, I would just say kind of mock with your friends. Just sit with your friends and have them ask you basic questions like strengths, weaknesses, how do you work in a team, like
how do you handle a conflict? That's a big one.
Yeah, a conflict. You can just search them. There's lists of like hundreds of questions online of just like basic questions they'll ask you. For me, what helped in like doing that and not like panicking in an interview is have like maybe 3 scenarios that you can like fall back to. So for me, that was like working on my startup with one other co-founder, like a 1-person team, doing like a hackathon where it's like 24 hours and it's like a time crunch and you're working with a team of people you've never met before is another huge thing. And also like just maybe like one school project. So this is like people who are like your age, you know these people, but like maybe one team member was difficult or like you like had to like carry the project at the end. It's just like 3 different scenarios that you can speak on very confidently. You know the project that you're working on and you can like apply to a variety of different questions to kind of explain like you and who you are in an interview. I think that kind of helped me kind of get my offer in the end, is just being very confident in knowing all these things.
Yeah. I think any negative question they try to ask you, like weaknesses, what's the time that you failed in anything? I think that's when I struggled to answer. Those are questions I personally struggle to answer because I don't like to admit that I failed at anything. That's just a me thing. I don't like to admit, but I can. Well, whenever I do get asked that question, I do say, "This is how I failed at something, but this is how I turned that failure into something good." So that's a skill that you need to learn for interviews, is being able to spin anything they give you into a good quality of you. It's like how you would be good in this internship or something where they can see that you know how to answer questions and you know how to apply it to a personal quality, like a positive quality of yourself, because that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think reframing it, don't dwell on the negative part of it. Don't be like, yeah, I like sucked very badly and I just like sucked overall. Because then they're just gonna be like, oh, this kid thinks he himself is terrible, why should we take him? Yeah. It should be like, oh, like I was like, it sucked that I like missed this project deadline, but like I took it as an opportunity to kind of reflect on myself, kind of improve, ask my professor what I could have done better, something like that, to where it doesn't seem like you just kind of took it on the chin as like, oh, I'm like a loser, I failed at this. It's like, oh, I improved, I'm a better person now, and I won't make this mistake again, basically.
Yeah. All in all, summer internships, if you get one, it's great. If you don't, there's always going to be other opportunities. There's always going to be other extracurriculars. It's never going to be the end of the world if you don't get an offer.
I would never. Yeah. It's in the end of the day, it's like really never that serious. It's like it'll seem like death when it's like, oh, all my friends have this internship and I'm sitting here like internshipless, like I have no plans for the summer. But like you can very easily, like if you have like the right mentality, you can pick yourself up and be like, oh, I can work on this project, do this thing, help this company. Well, anything you put your mind to, you can like end up doing. So
that's the biggest thing. Yeah.
It's not.
Oh,
yeah.
You go.
Yeah, no, you're fine. It's not. It's like it's genuinely not the end. It'll seem like the end of the day in the moment, but you there's so many other things you could do other than just working at a company at the summer too. So.
Yeah, the biggest thing it teaches you is how to not take anything personally.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a big thing that teaches you that they did what was best for their company in that internship role, and you can do what's best for you in any other place other than that company.
Yeah, I would also say, kind of adding on to that, is like don't idolize any company. This kind of ties back to college applications too. Don't idolize a college, don't idolize a company, because when you get rejected, it'll hit you 10 times harder than if you didn't like care as much. I definitely care, but don't make it like your top priority. Like, oh, I want an internship at Google, so I will idolize Google, make Google like everything about me. And then when they inevitably send you a rejection letter, like, oh, like I'm like terrible, like I suck, like this is like it's not gonna be good for you when the inevitable eventually comes. But I would say just be optimistic too. I feel like that's like, don't be pessimistic, don't be overly optimistic, but just
Realistic.
yeah, realistic,
There you
exactly. Yeah, just be, you know where you are, so you know where you'll land eventually.
I think the biggest thing I give for any incoming college freshman, or just anyone who's struggling in college, manage your time. I think that's the biggest thing with me, is that I learned how to manage my time. I learned how to give myself enough time to goof off or do things with my friends, but also enough time to study and really get on my grind for all of my classes. And I think scheduling out when I need to study, when I need to turn in all my assignments. The first thing I do at the beginning of every semester is I look through every class's syllabus. I go through the assignments list and I put them all on my calendar. And that keeps me on track for the rest of the semester. And it's like a really good thing I've started doing. Well, I've been doing it, but it's just time management is your biggest skill in college.
I'm the exact opposite. I will say there's a specific brand of person that works for, and I tried doing the time management stuff and it wouldn't work for me. I would say if you're like me, you're like a serial procrastinator and you don't like do things on time. I would say don't stretch yourself too thin. I think that's like a major thing, is like understand your own limits. I kind of I mentioned this before, but like first semester this year I hit my limits like rock hard, like very hard, like second month of school, and it was like terrible for the next like 3 months, just kind of working through that. So understand your limits. I guess a lot of smaller things, smaller tips. When you're a freshman, I would say find someone who's older than you, like a sophomore, junior, senior, who maybe like went to your school, or like a mentor, or someone who can like help you navigate college initially, because I found out the hard way that like I didn't like really know what I was doing at IU, so I would have liked to have someone
Mentorship.
yeah, mentorship, yeah, that. Also like I know yeah, mentorship programs are huge. Reach out to people who went to your high school, who are now at like the college that you're going to. I think that connection is really huge too. I think also having older people will help you with like getting into programs, getting to know other older like mentors who can help you get into like things that you want, like internships or like workshops or whatever you need.
Rate my professor as your best friend for classes with upperclassmen who've taken classes in your major.
Yes, actually 100%.
Ask them who are the best professors to take, because that's a professor can make or break a class.
Yeah,
and especially in classes that are lecture heavy, like a lot of poli-sci classes are very lecture heavy. Know the professors, know which classes you want to take and which classes you need to take, because there is a separation between those two. Sophomore slump is a very, very real thing. I feel like I heard it my first semester in college and I was like, that can't be real. It is a very real thing. You get very burnt out halfway through college and you think to yourself, what am I even doing this for? Take care of your mental health. That's a big thing. Being able to like set aside time for yourself, I think, is a big part of college. And yeah, find some way to keep your motivation alive.
I think the slump hits especially after you hit like a big milestone. Like I know for me, like getting into college, that summer after college, I was like the laziest I've ever been. Like obviously like you deserve to like relax a little bit, but like don't become complacent, you know? Like same with like signing my internship. I was like, oh, I don't have to care anymore. When you like, I still have like 2 more years of college. Like I clearly like do have to care to an extent. So like I'll just say manage, kind of like don't become complacent when you get something big. Like if you like sign that offer or get into a great school, like just know that like there's still more ahead of you. Like you're still like 18, 19, 20, like there's so much more like 60, 80 years ahead of you to like kind of worry about, you know? So worry about kind of that you have. So just these 4 years or 3 months are not going to be like the end of everything.
And also make use of campus resources. I didn't do that my freshman semester. I feel like I didn't take advantage of a lot of the resources that the school has set in place to help freshmen specifically. I feel like there's so many programs that I didn't utilize when I was a freshman. And that's something that I wish I did, because I probably would have been better for it. But listen to your school. Sometimes they do have good ideas.
I think that ties back into the mentor thing. Any upperclassman will know like everything, like the best like dining hall, where to use your meal swipes, like these small things will like add up majorly when you realize you're halfway through your freshman year. Like, oh, I have like 200 meal stuff that I haven't used yet. Like I'm not gonna eat all this food. Like these small things will add up and it'll become like a huge annoyance later on. Similarly, talking about like campus tools, colleges have a lot of stuff to use. I know for tech majors especially, like they'll have a lot of like Adobe. They have the full Adobe suite. Like a lot of these like tech products for free for students. Make sure to fully use that. I know a lot of students get like deals on things like Nike, Adidas, Apple, anything that you want. Like students get like priority like deals for everything. So look for all of those. What else? There's one major thing I was saying. Learn to cook. That's a big thing. I don't know about Aditi, but for me, learning to cook was like huge. Like I save a lot of money. Like I cook for all of my friends, and it's like a great like bonding time for all of us. Like I get to enjoy good food and not like ramen every day. Like it'll pay off massively like down the line. Yeah.
I'm lucky in the regard that I stay home and I have my mom who's a great cook who cooks the majority of my meals. In that same regard, learn how to eat healthily and like
take care of yourself.
Your eating
Take
habits.
care of yourself.
I kept saying my freshman year that I probably would not have eaten as much as I probably should have during freshman year, because in itself I don't have the greatest eating habits in that I don't eat on time. I will eat either like really late or really early, and then it messes up my entire schedule. And I feel like being at home and being able to have my mom yell at me to eat is something that kind of like has regulated my eating habits. So regulate your eating habits.
I would say, yeah. For me, my freshman dining hall was absolutely like the worst ever. Like I would fully not eat for like days on end. I lost maybe 20 pounds freshman year, because you have to consider if you're not eating and you're also like walking to all of your classes, that's like, it was like easily maybe an hour of walking a day, which is like, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds up over like a full school year will add up like very massively. Like you'll, if you're not taking care of yourself, not working out, not eating healthy, it'll like hurt you like later on, right? So I would say if your like dining hall sucks like mine did, don't be like stubborn about it. Like at the end of the day, like I would eat, like I would force myself to eat like the terrible food, and like you'll eventually get used to it too. Like near the end of school, like I kind of just got used to, like I was like, oh, like this food is like, it sucks, but like I'll just eat it. Like I have to survive, right? And I think just like you just have to thug it out, honestly. Like there'll be a certain point where it's like, yeah, like it sucks, but this is like what I have to deal with, right? Find and to add to that, like find good dining halls where you actually like the food. Like even if you have to check or like look for something else, like just find food that you'll enjoy. Find something where you'll actually like enjoy it and eat it and like keep yourself alive. You know, like I would not advise, like I know freshman 15, like gaining 15 pounds is a huge thing, but also like I knew a good chunk of people who were like me who lost 15 pounds because they hated the food. So it's just like balancing, kind of figuring out what you know what you like, just eat what you like please eat every day. Like that's all I can ask.
Caffeine intake is also a big thing, because if his school is anything like mine, you have vending machines with $1 energy drinks, $1, $50, $1.50, whatever. Energy drinks that are convenient. It's better than going to some coffee shop and paying like $7 for caffeine, and you're like, oh, it's just there. It's not the best for you, especially Celsiuses or whatever. Learn how to get yourself off those as soon as possible, I think, in my opinion, because those are...
I have a terrible defense.
I do too. This is coming from people who like...
It's like, I'll go to like Sam's with my friends and they'll have like Prime Energy, which is like 300 milligrams of caffeine in a can for like $15 for maybe like 20 drinks. And it's like, it seems enticing in the moment, and then you're like, oh, I have like a caffeine addiction because I'm like tired as hell at like 12 p.m. on a school day and I can't get out of bed. Like you'll be like, oh, like this energy like helps me a lot like late at night, but you'll develop a bad dependence on it, and you'll get over it eventually. Like I'm over it now when I'm at home and I'm not drinking energy drinks, but it'll like suck in the moment when it's like, oh, like I can't get out of bed because I'm tired as hell. Like
that goes back to eating habits, sleeping habits, just learning how to regulate everything when it comes to living on your own, or just, you know, being more independent is such a big deal in college. So
I know being away from your parents is awesome and all, and like it'll feel great and terrible at the same time, because it's like, oh, I'm away from home, but I'm away from my parents too. Like I can do whatever I want. and then you realize like, oh, like I actually have to be responsible. And then when the responsibility, like when that hits, that's like a very like chilling reminder of like, damn, I'm like alone. Like I have to like do all this on my own. My mom is not there to like feed me meals 3 times a day. Like I have to like manage all these things. You know, you're basically an adult, especially if you go out of state, like away from a commuter school. Like you're basically living like your own life. Like you have to care for yourself. Like,
Okay, guys, thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing your experiences and tips. I hope it will be useful for the kids who are going to go to college.
Okay, like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Comment
Bye.
too.
Comment too, yeah.